they hate. And I know better than to listen to the people who are calling us names. I can feel the sunlight shining.
Well, good morning, everyone. My name's Brian, and today is Friday, January 26, 2024, and this is episode 620 of the Lots Project podcast, and it's titled Accidentally Resilient, and I'll be chatting about becoming accidentally resilient. Weird. The only true prize in life, and lots of synchronicity going on almost on a daily basis. I have a feeling from just thinking about it. I'll explain more in a little while, and we have more to talk about than just that. Let's first grab a cup of coffee, see who's hanging out in the live chat and the coffee crew, and we will be here for about an hour. Good morning. How we doing? Mike, the Philippine Nomad, swinging in. Haven't seen you in a while. Hope all is good over there in the Philippines. Good evening to you, I suppose. Good morning, Rachel, Rewilder Life Hunter over on Twitch, and the gentleman in early having a bit of a chat. Jim in way early must have been that evening pee, or that mid-morning pee. He had to get up and get out of bed and, wander in. Maybe we'll get him a bedpan for next Christmas. Good morning, Gingerbread. Good morning. And Pip in early. Grabbing a few sats before we pop back up over 40. Did Bitcoin get above 40 this morning again? I saw that I had the alert when I woke up that it was sub 40. And it's been bouncing around right there at that 40, 39. I don't know if we hit down 38 the other day. I don't know. I'm just hoping that it doesn't skyrocket here in the next month before I get paid for my last quarter's commission. So I don't know when that locks in on the Bitcoin price. So Pip says we pumped up to 41,200. Keep her under 45. Keep it under 45, and I'll be happy. So, anyway, what is in the cup this morning? What's in the cup? We got breakfast blend. I jettisoned the blonde. From breakfast with a little blonde, and it's better. It's better. I'm not saying it was bad yesterday at all by any means. It was just different, and I think he nailed it. I think he just the thing is, I think he absolutely nailed it with the breakfast blend. That goes back to Thanksgiving, I think, where I was bullshitting with Brian about having he was going to send out a dark for after dinner, after Thanksgiving dinner when we want to sit down, and yeah, we got in a chat and ended up he rolled out this light blend for morning time. That's kind of my, I don't drink coffee in the evening, but when I do I want a darker roast that sits well with that after the meal. The lighter roast to me gets you up and going, makes you want to move. The darker roast makes you want to settle into a couch with a nice cup of coffee and a book or a movie, and that sounds perfect after a big meal. So that was kind of the line of thinking on that, and he knocked it out of the park with the light one. The dark one was pretty good too, but the light one was good. James says have to drive the price down to start the ETFs. I think it is the ETFs in general that's driving the price down. We were talking about that in the chat the other day, and just the pure amount of volume being sold off, and then people that are stuck in like people were talking about grayscale, getting out of the grayscale, getting out of the stocks that were exposure to Bitcoin without buying Bitcoin. All those companies that had Bitcoin on the books, now that you can get exposure through the ETF. I think a lot of that is shifting. Hunter, I believe it was Hunter or Canadian Farmstead, was also talking about just the amount that was pre-bought and now being sold back into the ETF customers. I thought I saw something like 12,000. Was it 12 million in Bitcoin a day? Hold on one second. And I will get that number. If some of you had it off the top of your head, it was the average for the last 11 days. It's gone in the chat, guys. Sorry. Hoflation. We talked about hoflation in the chat yesterday. That was good. I don't see it. I don't see the numbers, guys. I don't know. It was definitely a significant amount of Bitcoin changing hands, just shuffling around in these ETFs in the back end. So price go down. That's okay with me. It's all a matter of if you have it and you want to hold it, or if you have it and you need to get rid of it, and that's what the price has to do. So anyway, what do I have on the list today? Basically hit that. There's been, so I put in the title about the synchronicity, things like that, and I talked about at the end of yesterday's show that today I was going to talk about how I've been really opening my eyes to how resilient we've pretty much accidentally set ourselves up to be, Corey and I, in this situation, in selling the farm, in buying the trailer, retrofitting the trailer, going nomad, traveling around, being mobile. I always thought leaving the farm was going to put us at a huge risk. As a prepper, it was slightly terrifying at some points, thinking about what we were giving up and the security and everything we were giving up at the farm, and the time and all that was also weighing in there. But the ideal prepper scenario, the freezer's full of food, the property, the land, all of it, and we're going to give it up and move into a travel trailer, which is, a depreciating asset, with no land to call your own. And but it was a means to an end for us. It's well said by me why we left Minnesota. The main reason: the cold, the just the winters, the growing season, all of that is why we left. If we could have picked our stuff up and moved it somewhere, if we could have picked that farm up and moved it somewhere, it would have been great. We made the decision that taking that step back from what we had achieved and going on the road was worth it. Originally, it was to go find one new spot. Once we realized we needed to make this trailer to make that even happen, we realized that we can go check out several spots. We didn't need to just pick one and go. That's where we decided to start roaming around, where we started decided to start exploring. And as we did, we realized that we don't need to have one place, that we could have multiple places to go sit down, that we could start building different. We could start building in a different way. Gingerbread said, if only the cheap land of Siberia wasn't in Siberia. Yeah, I mean, there is that. But as we've traveled and as we've kind of gotten on the road, we've been able to open our mind to different scenarios. And, we've become comfortable with the fact that we can have a home base. We can set things up to be good enough, I guess would be a term to think about it. Good enough if something happened that we could go back there and start again. and live there as one property. As we get that, I think picking up more and doing that and really focusing on the time, the seasonality of where we want to be at that point. So if we're picking up a property that we want to be at in winter and it's in the south, really focus on designing that property to benefit us at the time period we want to be there. Um, it's a different way of thinking when you set up your property. If you buy a property, if you buy a homestead and you're building that and you're evaluating different things you want to do and systems and animals, you're looking at a holistic year. You're looking at all 4 seasons. You're looking at being able to take care of it all year round. I think we've shifted focus to where, well, I have shifted focus to really decide, well, if we have the property in Texas, we're not going to be there in the summer. So let's set things up to be able to shut down in the summer and pick back up in the fall, whatever that means. And maybe that's not achievable, but I think thinking outside the box and thinking differently, because there aren't a lot of people. There's not 100 blogs out there. There's not 100 blogs and YouTube channels out there exploring this. I mean, there's snowbirds. When you Jim, when you drive to Florida to live in Florida for the winter, it's a big thing. Like I think you become um very not self-sufficient as a snowbird, as leaving your home and going somewhere else. I think you bring what you can. I've gotten to a point where I bring everything I have everywhere I go. So I think living this lifestyle is really opening my eyes to the fact that we could probably make this work with several locations. But having that main base to go back to. So that started to be the goal. Morning, Haas. Thanks for joining. I'm sorry you can't sleep, but if you can't sleep, at least you have the prize of coming in and hanging out with us. So that is something that idea has kind of developed over the course of the last year and a half as we've taken off. Chris Dixon says, I don't know many snowbirds that are living versus existing. Yeah, I mean that is the thing. Rewilder Life says, we've considered this, having animals part of the year and culling them, keeping the rabbits and laying hens for someone to watch while we're gone. We will see. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Gingerbread's Farm says there's money to be made maintaining snowbird property in the summer or winter. And Jim is talking about flipping 3 homes in the last 7 years has been the hardest part. Yeah. So there is a lot of there's a lot of planning. There's a lot of what ifs and how to do it and what will work. I was very impressed in Texas. And the reason I really started getting this idea and thinking about it was one of the properties we stayed at in Texas when we were traveling to Tennessee. He had aquaponics system set up, and it was pretty much self-sustaining. It was overgrown. It wasn't in the ideal shape, but no one was doing anything with it. It had solar panels, it had pumps, it looked like it had backup pumps. It had goldfish that looked very, very hardy. It was in the fish were in the shade. They were undercover. The plants they were just in the shade enough. They had shade cloth. I think with some seasonal maintenance and some preparations before you left, it would be fine. You're not growing things that you're cut and come again. You're not your seasonal stuff. You got your perennial plants, your sweet potato, the long cycle stuff. Um, if you're planning on being there on a regular basis, regular basis being once a year for a period of time, things like that. I think you could plan it out. The animals is tough. I think that takes a lot of networking, and I think this, like talking about the resiliency, this kind of down a different path, and I'll get to that in a second. Our current resiliency, I think at that point you work really hard with networks. Um, I think you really have to tap into people that are there all the time. So maybe maybe you allocate some of someone else's chicken flock or rabbits when you come to town. You obviously are in contact with them. Maybe that is someone that you work with, that you provide something for or pay or whatever value for value exchange you have there. I think you really tie into the networks that are there. And I'm finding that around here. And that's something that has really helped me feel that we're a little more resilient than I feared when we took off. Um, Jim says building community of friends happens organically and everyone knows a guy for whatever. Yeah, and that kind of ties into something else that I've been meaning to talk about. Um, okay, yeah, Rachel says here, local community is something we've been working hard at. Um, I help a lot of people when they go away on vacations or have been sick. I think this could be a co-op style vacation. Yeah, and I mean there's definitely opportunity for that. Mm, she says we're talking month gone, not months. But what if there's a community of people that, there were plenty of people in Minnesota that loved it there. There were plenty of people in Minnesota that loved the winter there. That didn't bother them. They enjoyed it. Uh, what if you tie into those people? I don't know. I don't know. Haas says it's weird. It's weird though. We used to have a lot of homesteaders a few years ago, but now it seems that people are getting out of it in his area. They found out that it's not easy. They COVID happened and they were home and they didn't have toilet paper and they didn't have food. They didn't have the food they wanted. They didn't have fast food. They were stuck at home watching YouTube videos, and every fear prepper porn bullshit was out there. Um, they decided to get into homesteading. It's easy, guys, isn't it? When you see it on Instagram, when you see it on YouTube, it's easy. It's not a pain in the ass. It's not expensive. It's not a lot of work. It's not tying yourself into doing stuff daily more than just having a dog. You have to process those chickens. You have to find some place for the eggs when you don't eat enough. You like all of that stuff. The garden overflows and Reweiler Life says, yeah, this is why you don't homestead out of fear. Very much, very much, very much. Um, but yeah, I think the community part of it is big. I think it can be a co-op situation. I don't even think it needs to be official, but just talking with the people. Just talk with your people. Um Hunter says I'm a strong, independent person that don't need no government daddy. Oh, Jim pulled out of the homesteading thing in the 90s because it was hard. It was hard. It is hard. I'm not saying it's not. Like, that's the benefit. That's the beauty of it, though. That's the beauty of it, how hard it is. But the benefits you get, especially if you do it right and you do it smart. But anyway, that's kind of the plan going forward for us, is trying to make multiple bases of operation and really tying into that community. And I'll get back to that in a second. But the last few days, so this cold snap, the ensuing chaos here in Tennessee, um, um, the upcoming elections that are starting to make their way into my social media feeds, which I'm not super excited about, but it is kind of, it is fodder for memes, I guess, and joking around, and you know the political climate, the stuff in Israel, the all of it, all of the shit that if you go in any mainstream prepper group or any YouTube channel that's trying to get views, any Facebook group that it has preppers in it, all the shit everybody's screaming about all the time. At one point, I had to step away, and I was like, okay, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. It really went back to circles of influence, circles of control. Spirko likes to say, does it change the temperature of your pool? That whole concept, not my problem if it doesn't affect me, type of thing. And I I have to circle back to that to make myself realize that we're okay. And when I did, I'm like, okay, so we had the cold snap here. We had the cold snap. Um, Corey and I are set up with multiple forms of heat. And this was all designed because we didn't know where we were going. I mean, we had an idea where we were going. We had general parameters. We wanted to be warm and we wanted to do this and that, but we understood that, cold happens everywhere. Cold happens everywhere. I'm pretty sure there was a huge cold snap in Texas before we set up the trailer. So I wasn't blind to the fact that we could be in Texas and experience freezing weather. It's why we put the Cubix wood stove in the camper. We wanted to be where it was 70 all the time. We wouldn't have put a wood stove in our camper. But wood heat, propane heat. Now, when we have electric, we have electric heat. Um, we we have different forms of electricity. We have the solar, we have the generator that takes gas and propane. So these things that the people are worrying about, every I guess an EMP would kind of fuck us because it would take out all our solar and electronics and things like that. Maybe I should put a Faraday cage around all our electronics. not not anytime soon. But anyway, um Jim says I stepped away from the FUD. I don't fear the apocalypse. It's not going to happen like that in the movie, or not going to happen like in the movies. Well, and even if it does, um, what's what what is going to happen? What is actually going to happen? Jim says EMP is bullshit fear. Yeah, I don't. It barely blips into my mind every few days when I see it and it's prompted. Um, Hold on one second. I'm the one that takes care of my older neighbors, and when I need help, they can't really help me. I'm starting to think about how I'm there for everyone, but it doesn't go both ways. Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I'm thinking about how things could go down. I don't. No. So what is the fear out there? What are people worried is going to happen? The system's going to break down, the monetary system's going to break down. Um the government's going to break down. So what? It's barely functioning as it is. Like I I remember back at the beginning of starting to prep, of starting to realize that shit wasn't right. It was back during the whole doomsday prepper time period as that was getting rolling. Um, and obviously that wasn't it obviously wasn't the path to follow. Watching doomsday preppers and thinking those were realistic scenarios is it was a false path to go down. But you know, I was lucky at that point that Jack on the survival podcast really laid it out, and he laid it out easily and said, you know, what is most likely to affect you? What is most likely to affect you? And it's not a Mad Max scenario, whatever. Like seriously, if shit went that incredibly sideways, it is what it is. It is what it is. You're gonna make do. You're gonna figure it out. If the zombie apocalypse comes, you're gonna make do. What are we really preparing for? Natural disaster? I mean, that's an actual thing that could happen. I would consider the fallout from 8 inches of snow in Tennessee a natural disaster. Um, if we had had a home base and that we have a home base here, and that scenario happened every 20 years. We hunker down on the property and do what we do. We survived it fine here. We did find some holes in our preps. If the water had broken down, because of the freezing temperatures, I didn't have my large holding capacity that I normally do. Normally, when it's above freezing, I could have 35 gallons in the camper. I could have another 70 gallons in the pickup truck. I could have another 15 gallons in jerry cans and other storage. So that exposed that, and also food. Food is tough in the vehicle or in the camper. Both quality and quantity. We do have some preps. We do have some stores. We haven't ever had to break into them, but we do have some freeze dried stuff. That is a really efficient way to go for us. But as far as really making do, other than icy roads, we can just leave. It would be a pain in the ass. It definitely would be a pain in the ass. We would have a bunch of things to do. It would be a process, but we're cognizant of what's going on around us that I think, we could be out of here in a half a day. It would suck. Maybe a day at this point, because we've been here so long. And maybe that's something that we need to evaluate a little further is what is our get the fuck out of Dodge time frame. But beyond that, I feel pretty resilient. I feel pretty able to handle what comes at us. I do know where to get water as long as I can get out of here. And that was the big rub with the snow and everything. It was, we can't get out of here to go get the water. So luckily for us, our spigot stayed on. I Our spigot stayed on. We never got close to running out of food or anything like that. It was only a week. So Hunter says, I'm thinking fire drill. I mean, maybe. it is, even if we don't roll, out, what would it be to get the fuck out? I don't know. It might be something that we need to explore, Corey and I. I don't know. Maybe I should put that on a list. Hmm. Interesting. But I feel like we're pretty resilient right now to anything that people are worried about. Oh, the election's coming. There's going to be riots. I don't fucking care. There's like 600 people in this town, or 400 people in this town, or 2,000 people. I don't know. There ain't going to be rioting here. The food. I know a lot of local food producers. I'm networking. I'm building community. And that really pushes into the topic of the building community and asking for what you need. I had it on my list yesterday, but I had an example of someone that started talking about something they wanted to learn. It was in a couple groups. It was in a couple of Telegram groups. It was in private messages. It was somebody that wanted to learn a new skill. I wasn't able to help them. It was something that I don't know enough about to confidently help them with it. I put feelers out. I put feelers out there looking for help for them. They started throwing out feelers. They found out that someone they already knew was very skilled and was able to help, will be able to help them. They were able to find someone that they already knew that they didn't know had the skills that they were looking to learn. This type of mycelial web of networking, you need to send the signals out. Like, you know how mushrooms and mycelial webs, they talk about how the forest talks to each other miles away. The trees are all interconnected. The soil is alive and connected, and they're sending signals back and forth. Think of yourself like a node on that mycelial web. And when you want to know something, put it out there. If you need something, put it out there. If you have something to offer, put it out there. You don't know who is connected to you in that web, whether it be a direct connection or a connection 5 nodes away. I tell Jim knows someone that I've never known. Boom, boom, boom. And it gets back to somebody that I've met before. That shit happens all the time. Be intentional about what you need and what you're looking for, what you have to offer, and tell people. Tell trusted people. Tell people that are in your network, in your web. They will spread it around. I really think that we're all just in this big network. Just like we learn about mycelial webs in the forest and all of that, I think we're a mirror of that, or can be. Talk about what you need. I think that's where the success of what I was talking about earlier comes, is that networking. Is that, you know, just because now that we're in this world where we're all connected. We're in this world where the whole country is connected. The whole world is connected. You never know, your friend in California might know somebody in Maine that has a brother-in-law that just moved to Tennessee that bought property. How coincidental is it that I met this guy from Canada. Randomly saw a video about him on Facebook where he was doing something just insane, removing a beehive with a shop vac. I thought it was hilarious and insane and brilliant all at once. So I started following his YouTube channel, and oh man, the dude had some videos. He had some cool videos. He was a little goofy, but it is what it was. I started doing a podcast. I started talking to him. We ended up becoming pretty good friends and talking quite a bit. We've been on each other's podcasts, and we grew our relationship. Turns out that he bought a property in Tennessee. When he bought the property in Tennessee, it was just raw land. He's like, well, what am I going to do with this? And I being in contact with him, it was, hey, dude, you got that property in Tennessee? I got this thing. I'm really looking to develop raw land. I'm looking to do my own. I'm looking to help other people do it. Where is it? And he said, oh, it's about, excuse me, he's about an hour south of Camden. I was like, oh, okay, well, maybe I'll search and see if I can find someplace to stay near it, and we could take a look, and maybe we can work together on this property. And so I looked in this area, and there isn't jack shit for public listed campgrounds or hip camps or anything like that. And I was like, oh, well, it isn't really ideal for me to be commuting a bunch of places, and Tim's property wasn't something that we could get into. So I started talking, and I started looking in network, and I started talking to people, and I came across somebody that was like, hey, I got a place in Tennessee that was relatively inexpensive. We're going to be taking off about the time that you're going to be getting there. Here's their number. Maybe it's close enough to where you need to be. And so I looked, and we ended up 20 minutes from Tim's. We ended up 20 minutes. Have built a relationship there. Have started working on the property. Through that property, I met Jamie, off-grid ping. Jamie is fantastic. What a resource he is around here. We were able to barter for firewood all winter through that. So then after we started working on Tim's property, we came up with this great idea for a work day and bring some community together. And community building is always great. And we're going to get some work done. At that work day, I end up meeting two people actually, that had just moved here from New Hampshire, that somehow tied in to Toolman Tim, that found out about the work day, that was looking to expand their network. And they live closer to me than Tim's property, to where we're staying. How does this happen? I end up working with them, becoming really good friends with them, and continue to move forward with that. That's just, is it coincidence? Or how does that all line up? I don't know. I think about the chance encounters, the way things work out like that, and I explore it. I don't know. Yeah, that kind of went in a bunch of different directions. Pip says the universe promotes life. I mean, yeah. I guess that kind of rolls into synchronicity a little bit. I've been noticing a lot of synchronicity lately. I think I just talked about a long cycle synchronicity. That whole story that I just told was probably over the last 4 years. I think Tim just posted that he was on Nicole's show for the launch of his stuff 4 years ago. So that's pretty long cycle. I'm going to be helping the person that found us this property to stay at. I'm going to be helping them out. We're still been in touch with them. Got those trees. If you remember a while back, got those trees delivered. Hunter says in his Hindu guru voice, "It is karma on your way to your dharma." I don't know if that's how they sound, but yeah, it's interesting. But I've been seeing a lot of other synchronicity type things. The other day, one quick example was I was scrolling through Facebook for some reason, and I just happened to, like, I get so many suggested posts. It's nauseating. But sometimes I'll slow down and I'll look at what Facebook is trying to feed me. And so I'm flipping through, and I see a combine, a harvester, harvesting in a field, which is not unusual. I mean, lived in rural Minnesota. I live in rural Tennessee right now. You see harvesting going on all the time. I didn't think twice about it really that much, and um Corey said something to me. The dog did something. I don't know what it actually was, but I looked up from my phone. And did some things, and I looked back down, and the video was still playing, and I kind of looked at it again, and I realized that they were industrially harvesting hemp, cannabis. They were using a combine to harvest cannabis. And I was like, huh, interesting. They're growing fields of cannabis large enough to harvest it with a combine. And I thought this was unusual. I thought it was a little unusual. So I actually clicked on the video, and I was like, huh, it looked like it was the first industrial harvesting of hemp in Colorado. I was like, huh, interesting. Yeah, it was hemp. It was hemp. But I was like, all right. All right. So the industry is getting to a point where they're advancing technology, they're changing, they're figuring it out. Gingerbread says you were visiting Scramblin'. Well, he does tie into this. Of course, industrial hemp. Jim says that'd be rough on the trichomes. Yeah. Industrial hemp is what it is. And so I was like, this would interest Brian. This was definitely interest Brian. Scrambling. So I sent him a link to the video, and he gets it, and he writes me back, and he says, you know what? 40 minutes ago, I was doing an interview, and I talked about exactly this. Now, we know that Facebook listens to shit. We know our phone listens to shit. We know. I get it. Whatever. You talk about random shit, and it shows up on your phone. You talk about a product, it shows up on your phone. I wasn't talking about industrial hemp harvesting with a combine. And the algo didn't prompt me to send it to Brian. Or did it? Does it know us that well? Does it know us that well? Interesting. I don't know. Daily Stoic yesterday was talking about what's the real prize in life. What is the real prize in life? Is it $1 million? Is it $1 billion? Is it a big fancy house? Is it cars? Is it whatever it is? And the point of the meditation was basically it's none of that. And if you can find happiness, if you can find happiness, if you can if you can find happiness, if you can find interest and happiness in things that don't cost you money, non-material things, it really makes it easy to always be happy. They were talking about Warren Buffett. They talked about a couple of different athletes. One athlete that still lives. He's got a multi-million-dollar contract every year, and he lives on $20,000 or $26,000 a year. Fantastic. That's perfect. I was always impressed by there was a kid that got drafted out of Syracuse, played basketball. Um, I don't remember what his name was. It's a while ago. Basically, his mom took his paycheck and said, "You can have what you can get in endorsements, but you're not spending any of your NBA contract on you. It's going in investments. It's going in investment." I was like, I like that. I like that. Good for her. Good for her. Pickle P says disc golf is free. Hole in ones can make your month. Yeah, I mean, but no, just being happy, being content. A book, a thought, pondering, being able to sit and think, enjoying nature. Um, things like that. Being content and being happy with nothing makes it so you're always content and happy, or ability to be always content and happy. MSU Rifle says, beware of the AI. Yeah, for sure. For sure. It's getting crazy. It's getting crazy. I mentioned it a long time ago when the whole chat GPT thing was rolling out. When everybody was freaking out, when everybody was just kind of getting access to chat GPT. It's probably a year or over a year ago. Um it The video and the images were scary real. Were scary real. And the only thing I thought about was in the drive-by media, in the social media doom scrolling society, how easy will it be to create video? Seeing is believing, guys. Seeing pictures. Like, what is the old saying? I need to see it to believe it. I need to see it. Show me proof. I want to see it with my own eyes. Now there's proof of nothing. I can show you videos that are all completely fabricated, that look absolutely perfectly real. I don't know. Gingerbread says, I've heard of the algo knowing a woman was pregnant before she did because of her change in shopping habits. Yeah, that's a long time ago. That's advertising. That's way back into the easily early 2000s. That's been around. That didn't take AI. Um Jim says, "Oh my god, I just watched three guys build tiny homes and a disc golf course." Um Wait a second. Rewilder Life says, how old was this kid that he was drafted? I think that might be part of another conversation. Sorry. Sorry. um yeah, I mean, it's the videos and the photos and the reliance of society on seeing it. So I saw this kind of play out in a microcosm. I saw this play out in a microcosm of the football game. I'm 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 quickly saying don't show me any more of football stuff. The team that I'm remotely tiny little bit interested in is done. Again, it's the same story over and over every year since I was a fucking kid. So it doesn't really matter. But Facebook was flooded with all of this bullshit that was not true, and like I'm not upset that it wasn't true, but just the naivety of the people would put out a fake news article about the game or after the game or this or that or the other thing, and there'd be 1,000 comments on it, just trashing on or pumping up or whatever, wholeheartedly believing something that was so obviously not true. But within a couple hours, it had taken hold like it was the gospel. I I can only imagine how this is going to ramp up with video and photo proof of what's happening. Scary, guys. Head on a swivel. Trust and verify. Trust and verify. It really got a lot harder in the last year. Really, really got a lot harder. Pickle Pete says never leave it to the kicker. Kicker can miss it as easy as an interception, whatever the script needed. Whatever the script needed, man. I'm pretty sure I love all the NFL scripted stuff. That's some of my favorite. That is definitely some of my favorite. Jim says the shit from both sides of an issue is why I left Face Crap. Yeah, I for a long time didn't use Facebook. Only to post on the business side. And I recently got back into it for a couple of solid reasons. It wasn't for entertainment by any means. But going into it conscious of the mind fuck that happens when you're there helps. It helps. You recognize it. I'm not saying you don't get caught into it at some points, but acknowledging it going in, it helps. It helps. There is a means to an ends there for me. There's a purpose for me to be there, and I just have to keep that in mind when I go there and be conscious of how I use it. What else I got here? Sorry, guys. It's slow morning. I'm kind of tired. Yeah, let's talk about the weekend. What do I got planned for the weekend? I plan on getting rested again. It's been. Jim says the time suck for most of us is detrimental. The time suck is horrible. Like that's the biggest thing I struggle with. I might go to only having it on my desktop, but there is such a convenience of the end goal of mine is to spread my links around and things like that, and mobile makes it easy for me to post to one place and have it go to all my pages and things like that. So Gingerbread said the lead story on How to Geek today was to be wary of fake kidnapping scams now because of deep fake. Huh, interesting. Yeah, so this weekend I plan on getting rested. The week of cold, it just beat it out of me. Corey also concurred getting up in the night to stoke the fire. Just the cold in itself was it beats you up. I remembered from Minnesota how tired I was all the time, how sore I was. It just takes a lot of energy to keep your body warm in general. And then add on top changing sleep schedules and the extra work, and it's a recovery. And then this week has just been super rainy and rained a ton. I think this weekend I'm going to try to catch up a little bit on some rest. I have videos to do. I started doing videos yesterday. I did Blackbeard fire starter. These fire plugs, they were nice enough to send those out. They're pretty cool. I got them open, got some video taken, got some up on Amazon. I'll be getting some on Facebook or on YouTube. Also got other reviews videos to go out. If the post office would get their shit together and UPS would get their shit together, I have a bunch of products showing up that I need to do videos for that I was counting on for to meet my self-imposed quota on Amazon Influencer Program. I have to make a video for week 3 review. If you haven't checked out week 1 and 2 review, those are up on the YouTube channel. Yeah, other than that, man, I don't know. I got news yesterday that our post office lady is no longer. Yesterday was her last day, which makes me sad for a couple of reasons. A, she was super nice, and I really enjoyed interacting with her all the times that I was spending there. Two, she knows who I am. She knows that I get packages there. She's all over it, and she would go the extra mile for me and do things that I never would have expected the post office lady to do. Help me out if she wasn't going to be there and I needed to get a package, things like that. Um, so I got a couple new employees coming in that I don't want to say I'm going to need to train them, but definitely need to stop in and do some networking again. That relationship I built was fantastic, and she's not quitting the post office. She's actually getting transferred to another couple of small post offices near here. So I'll have to go say hi at some point. One of them is right next to the Dollar General we go to, so it's not like I have to go out of my way to see her. But that sucks. Like I said, UPS is still dicking the dog on their stuff. It sounds like the transfer, the last transfer spot, for UPS where they put it on the truck for delivery near here has trucks full of packages sitting there that don't have drivers. And my packages, it makes sense because my packages every day they say out for delivery. They say out for delivery, and then it sits all day, and then at the end of the night it says it's not going to get delivered today, maybe tomorrow, and then today it'll say out for delivery. So it's getting me to have to go to the post office every day to see if it's actually there, because I want to get it. I don't like it sitting there. I don't like my stuff sitting somewhere else, and me not having it. So hopefully today I got several things showing up, so I hope they show up so I can do these videos over the weekend. I hope they get their stuff. I hope they stuff in their ducks in a row. We'll see. Real quick before we wrap up, did you guys see that Primal over on Noster? Primal the protocol, the I can't even think right at the moment. What client Primal, the Noster client. There we go. They released their mobile version that has a Lightning app right in the client. What clients are you using currently to access Noster? So I'm on Android and Windows desktop. I've been using in Brave. I've been using Primal for a while now. I really like it. I think it's a super cool interface. Works well, and I've had no problems with it, so I've stuck with it. On mobile, I've gone to I've been a long time Amethyst user. Hunter says Amethyst. So Amethyst, but with Primal releasing their mobile, I downloaded it, and it I'm starting to mess around with it. I'm starting to mess around with it, and I think it's going to be cool. It's got a wallet integrated right into it. I'm going to have to dig in. First looks, I like it. Pickle P says check out Karate Combat tonight if you turn on the TV. It's new and awesome. It's part of the fan controlled sports. How's that fan controlled sports going, Brian? Is the football still a thing? Have they gone to other sports? It looks like. I know they were doing basketball maybe, and now doing combat sports. Interesting. Anyway, guys, it's been a fun Friday. I enjoy you guys hanging out. Thanks for Pickle Pete says they got a golfer now. Interesting. Huh. Interesting. Anyway, let's wrap it up here. Let's get out of here. We'll come back next week with a full week of shows again. We'll wrap up and look back on the weekend and get into a variety of topics. You can always find chat going on this weekend in the Telegram chat. I might actually pop on and do a live this weekend. I got some stuff I want to test out that I don't want to do in the middle of a show in the morning. So I might do an impromptu live just to test some stuff out. So if you see a notification pop up this weekend, definitely hop on. It might benefit you. It might. Otherwise, we might just be bullshitting, and it might be a huge disaster trying to test some of these things out. Anyway, I appreciate you all listening. If you enjoyed the show, it's always free to hit the like, the share, the subscribe. You can return value for value to me. You can please consider joining one of the YouTube membership tiers or listening on any value for value platform like Podverse, Wavelake, or Fountain.fm. You can visit thelotsproject.com, newly updated, and more updates here in the near future. You can find all my information, all my links, all our recommended products, partner companies, discount codes, and services I offer. Check that out, guys. I hope you have an awesome week. I hope you get some shit done this weekend, or get some rest, or recuperate, or have some fun. Whatever your heart desires, go ahead and get that done. Have an awesome weekend, guys, and we will catch up with you again on Monday.